Let's go. Glenn Pasch, everybody get recharged up in here. Let's go.
Do you hear this in your sleep?
Yes. That's real. Hey, what's going on, car guys and car gals? It's Lou Ramirez, the car guy.
And it's Fred Lenartz, subprime hero.
And we are brewing solutions on the Car Guy Coffee Podcast, live at Digital Dealer in fabulous Las Vegas at the Mirage. And we are excited to be here with this incredible solutionary right here. Tag a car guy.
Tag a car gal and share.
Get the word out.
Let's get it out there. Come on.
Because we are brewing solutions with this bean, the one,
the only Glenn Pasch. Let's go, baby. I'm excited to have him
welcome to the party. I got to get that high five, though.
Oh, there
get that on it.
Nice.
Get that pop going.
Well, folks, if you guys don't know, Glenn's been in our lives for the last couple of years, and we've actually leaned into him as a mentor a few times, and we've been very thankful for the advice that you've given us, man. It's really helped us be able to kind of clear up what we want to do, help us get a little bit more focused on what we should be focused on. And man, you're a great guy for being able to do that and pour that into us. Thank you for being here today. I'm excited to have you on the show.
I'm glad to be here. Excited. This is the event is humming. It's got a good feel, good vibes.
It is.
I noticed it when badges were giving out this morning. There was lines for days out there, and I was like, this is going to be a good event. So very excited. Looks like there's a lot of great booths. I see some booths that were smaller at the last event are getting bigger and bigger, man. Companies are growing and doing big things, so it's fun to see that happen also. Speaking of growing companies, let's get to your company. How's it been going?
PCD Digital, the agency, is growing again. People are starting to rethink marketing. For a while, people thought with inventory down, they didn't have to market. So I think that was a mistake. I think a lot of the people who are, at least for our clients, have been increasing budgets because they want to take market share. They have different strategies. So they're out there really creating sell me your car campaigns and really aggressively going after that. Getting that inventory, because when the manufacturer, depending on your OEM, when are they going to open up more new vehicles for you? One never knows. So you really have to start thinking about how many cars and really dedicate campaigns. So people are starting to wake up again and say, I guess I got to go back and really market.
So, and I love that you're saying that, because there's so much that happened when everybody started selling cars because they had them for as much as they wanted, just because they had them. Yes. What do you think that has, or what do you think that's done to the strength of the selling staff?
Again, it all depends on the leader. I think it's natural for someone to, as a salesperson, to say, I have a very hot commodity. So if you, Lou, don't want to buy this or pay MSRP, or if you happen to be a dealer that's adding on or charging over sticker, if you don't want that, that's all right. I got Fred and five other people that want this.
That's 100%.
So,
and that's kind of
I was just having a conversation before we went on with the gentleman who was asking me the same thing. What do you think is going to happen? Are people going to, one, or have we gotten sloppy with our sales skills, or have we also really impacted our customers' respect for us because we're so much, hey, take it or leave it. What's going to happen when it does open back up again? How are you going to really address that and get back to really relationship selling? So, but it really always is the leader that's going to either allow that or not allow that.
That's good stuff, and definitely something that all you solutionaries that are out there watching, listening on the replay or live need to consider is, what is it that your leader has? What is it that your leader is using, right? And ultimately, what is it that your leader is looking for? If you guys are truly looking to brew solutions inside of your stores, if you're truly looking to have an impact in your community, then what you're going to do is you're going to find people like Glenn. You're going to find other people that are actually wanting to be forward thinking, rather than saying, how can we keep one model of success working for us consistently, nonstop. It's never going to end inside of this ever-changing business, right? This is something that, of course, leaders have been trying to figure out forever. What would you say to the leaders that are out there that are looking right now for solutions inside of their stores, inside of their communities? What would you say right now they need to be looking at on the digital side?
Well, I think it's not even just digital, because that's a piece. And that is the problem. Like the way that you ask the question, sometimes that's the way everybody thinks about it, as, well, digital is over here and our in-store marketing's over here, or traditional's over here. When reality it's more about, I want to market an aspect, or me as a brand, and I'm leveraging these channels.
Right.
So what is radio going to do? And then how does that connect to digital? So if I drive them to the website, are they going to see that message? If I drive them into the store, are they going to see that branding? So is everything connected? So I think it's more about the dealer taking a step back and saying, what is it that I want to share? And then how do I leverage my partners to accomplish that, versus, hey, digital, what are you going to do? Then I go have my call, hey, radio, what are you going to do? And it's this broken Frankenstein monster of marketing, versus, Lou, you say, this is what my initiative is, and you get all of your marketers together and say, how are you all working together to support this, versus disconnection.
Right. And so, loving it. Going to keep talking about it. Everybody, make sure that you do jump in with us on Thursday as we have the conversation about unveiling the power of diverse unity. And in that, so I'm hearing that again, that taking all of these different pieces, taking the diversity and unifying it into one language, one common approach to how we connect to our customers. Because there are, like you said, it's not just digital. Don't compartmentalize it like that. You have to have all of the beans inside of the bag to make your brew a coffee, 100%. Right?
Yeah. So the way I explain it to my dealer clients and others, and we'll be talking about it in my session here at Digital Dealer, is you have to work backwards. And I think we've talked about this. You have to start with saying, how do I want my customers to feel when they're done doing business with me? Right. So I talked on another podcast, and they said, whoa, stop. I want to hear that. No one else says that. They go, I want them when they buy from me. I'm like, that's not it. How do I want them to feel? Then you say backwards, what do my employees have to do in order to generate those feelings? Yeah, so that's right. Then you build those actions into a process. Right. Then you hire the people who can execute on that. Then you find the tech to support them to deliver that. And that tech could be internally in the store or your website. Then it's, how do I train and hold them accountable? How do I measure? And then anytime you want to change something, you have that long string that you can say, is this an addition to what we're doing? Is it a replacement for what I'm doing? Or do I even need it at all? Right? All of these products here, you could sit here and go, you know what? I love it, but that doesn't fit us. Right. Or I don't need it. I already have something that does that. So once you do that, then all of your marketing partners are your band of your team, that just like you have a sales team, you have a marketing team that's pushing out that message to say, here's why you should do business with us. Here's why you should service with us. Not just, hey, this is our lease price. That could be a targeted campaign, but we have these 3 levels of marketing: evergreen, which is your branding, seasonal, and then targeted. Problem is, a lot of times we only do one of them, or we stop doing something.
Right. I agree.
Right. And we all go into the bucket of targets. Right? It's all targeted versus I always should be branding who I am and why you should do business with me.
100%.
Right?
Nonstop. That doesn't.
Man, that's some knowledge you just dropped right there. And it's true. You should always be doing that. And if you are, then you'll see that it's the consistency is where you really see if something truly works or doesn't. It's when we half-ass things and then we say it doesn't work. That doesn't mean it doesn't work. It just means you just didn't do it. And you have to really work a little bit harder. Be consistent with what you do and understand that consistency is the true test of really what something does or does not do.
Well, you have to plan it ahead of time. And that's what I'm saying. You have to we have a tendency to jump into things versus looking at it and saying, okay, should we be doing now? In that example where we say we come and we find a product or a new strategy and say, should we do this? Yes, this is an add-on, something new. Right. Great. Now we can map it out. Well, okay, what are we going to do? Who owns it? How are we going to measure it? How often do we talk? Can we do it? Do we have to hire a vendor? Right. All of these things. Then you launch it and then you say, let's measure it. How long till we measure? Something could be instantaneously. Something might be 3 months. Something might, but along the way, I see progress. I see this. The problem is we jump because we're not prepared. And so we look at results and we make decisions on results, win, lose, or draw. But a lot of times we didn't prepare correctly to even know. So to your point is, it's not even that they didn't try. They didn't give it enough rope.
There you go.
And more importantly, they didn't even plan it out to know. It's just, I have a gut feeling. I don't know what that means. Right. It's data, but it has to be planned. Then you can execute. Then you can step on the gas if you have everything laid out in front of you. The problem is we rush. Right. Someone this morning said, I have a list of vendors. Who should I cut? To me, I was sitting there going, that's almost a ridiculous question because that's not informed.
Right.
Like, why would I be cutting? Yeah. And
what's the basis of cutting them?
And and to just go to somebody, which one? Why am I cutting? Is it less money? Great. Is it? I
agree.
Is there really duplication in there? Do I really know how to measure each of these? I mean, there's so much to go in it, but a lot of it takes planning on the front end. Then you'd never have to ask that question. You would already know that if I have to downsize, this is the one because it's not giving me the bang for the buck today, and I have to pull back. But that's being informed.
I agree.
And I mean, sometimes inside of the consideration for dealers when they're doing that cut, are also looking at some of the things that they just got pumped up and excited about having, and then they install, then they put in, and they really didn't give it enough time to turn into anything, like we're saying, right? And we get that J effect where you do have a little bit of a dip, right? And then they have to fuse inside of that training, right?
And, well, what you also have is it's not even the J. I think it's more of a roller coaster because what happens is, J signifies I'm here and I initially drop. Usually when you start something, you get a surge, right? You get a surge because everyone's excited about it. And it's usually month 2, everyone goes, wait a minute, I don't see it working, or my excitement went off, or I go back to the old way, or my old habits start to come into place. And that's when you need your leaders to go, we're staying the course with actions. And then all of a sudden, 3rd month, they start seeing it, and then it starts going up and going up. But a lot of people see that initial, and in month 2, they drop because, it's not, what happened? It was working last month, get rid of it. No, that's just a natural change cycle in human beings is we all fight it, right? You did 75 hard a couple times. It all sounds good. First 7 days, you're like, but somewhere I'll bet you day 15, day 18, you're going, what in God's name am I doing? And you had to push through to get to that next.
And at the other end of that, what you just said, it's excitement again. It's like it's an accomplishment. It's fulfillment. You start to realize, wow, this is why I did it. Now your mind starts to clear up. Amazing things.
Out of here. But that to me is human nature. We all get excited. They'll come and get a product here. We do it. Yeah, I do it with my team. We're all excited. But I know now that I have to make sure that we map things out so that we have a structure when the excitement wears off and we're just into the day-to-day of doing things.
That's it.
Until then when it becomes normal, what happens is you start seeing results again, and then you get excited. You may never be as excited as you were day 1, maybe when you run through the finish line on day 75 and you're like, but when you approach day 70, that 75 hard again, you already know come day 15, there's going to be the wall.
Absolutely.
And I got to push through that.
Absolutely.
Because you've done it before. And so I think the more that you add things in, build change in, coach people and aware of that, then same thing with marketing. You can then give your vendor partner time because not all marketing works. Right. And so, but when you do that, that's true leadership. Is your job is to look down and go, here we are. We're starting to feel that thing. Right. Think about when you guys go into stores to work with your stores.
Yes.
When you're there, pump up.
Yep.
The week after you leave, still pretty good.
Right.
2 weeks after,
it starts to J down. Yeah, you're right.
And then when you come back, but the key is, here's the key, is that their drop, right? So let's say they were down here. There was something with it. We're down and it goes up because you're there. And then it starts to come down again. And then you guys come back again. And then the goal is that drop never gets back to where it was initially.
Right.
Yeah,
So think of it as,
true.
I always use the analogy of bouncing a basketball on an escalator.
Oh yeah.
There's up and downs, but overall we're chugging.
Wow.
But so the ups
What a good
are
visual.
going up, but the downs are never as bad as they were because I'm coming back in to swoop in to help them, keep them up, and eventually I don't need to.
Exactly.
Or now we're talking about next level stuff. Because we've mastered this level. But that up and down is part of anything. Implementing a product, new marketing, new staff, new leaders. Once you understand that and embrace that, but leaders have to be aware of that.
Right.
But that goes back to that whole planning, to know that it's all mapped out and have faith in the plan and dedicate your time to the plan. Then you can see if the plan didn't work. But if I give it 90 days and I 100% know I committed to the plan, then it's either the plan, but it's not the execution. Most of the time when you go into stores, it's either they don't have a plan, or they're not executing on the plan they have.
That's exactly it.
And it's one of those two things.
It is.
It's not any more complex than that.
I
Either
agree
you
with
have a plan that's written out and you're not doing it, or you have a plan that's written out and they are doing it. Well, then we got to fix the plan.
That's it.
Right.
And it really comes down to those things. And you're that's very intuitive, because I agree. And I believe that, we go in and we see it. Sometimes the dealers just don't know because they're not working firsthand out there every single day. They don't know what the holdup is because, of course, their managers are telling them doing all the training. Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But
we're doing
really,
it,
are they?
We're doing
Let's just be honest. Most of them are not, and that's okay. We just got to go figure that stuff out for them. And once the dealers become educated and they start to work towards it consistently every single day, they do become better. And it, like you said,
but then you put in a place for that. If somebody goes, well, I'm doing the training, and you go, are you? Well, then where's the accountability piece to the person above that, right? So if you think about it, that manager is on someone's team.
Yep.
That's right.
They're on the dealer's team.
Yep.
So how is the dealer holding them accountable? What's the process to say, okay, well, then I need you to document that you did your training, and here's the sheet that we document.
Right.
At the end of the week, you're going to hand them in.
Yes.
And so now there's all my documentation. So that means it happened. Then if it's not, if I'm not getting the results, did I have that? Well, then it's either how you train, or you're faking it, or something. Right. Something didn't work. So then, but at least you have all those pieces in place to catch it. So think of it as a strainer. I have a strainer to catch, but then I have another strainer that's a little finer to catch the next. And then there's a strainer underneath, and then maybe eventually there's a solid bowl that catches everything. That's when you're going there. That's usually the reason why things happen, is there's no accountability up. We stop at the manager instead of saying, well, you're on the dealer's team. And the dealer's on his 20 groups team. Right. And so everybody's accountable to someone. But what's that process to hold them accountable? That's usually where there's missing.
And is it habitual? Did you give it enough time for it to become a habit? Did you give it enough time for you to make it part of your world? And I love, because that's exactly the stuff that we try to make sure that we are training and making sure that there's accountability that's actionable accountability to make sure that what we're looking for, we're going to get. And if we go in with the intention to get the action, then we're going to start seeing things move. They're going to shake. And of course, the muscles are going to get built, right? Everybody's going to get stronger. Right.
See,
you never stop.
That's the other piece to this, is that on that dealer's accountability checklist, one aspect of their job, be it daily, weekly, monthly, is check the training of the managers. That's their job. That's on their checklist. That doesn't go away. Just like on the manager's checklist to do the training. The problem is that, it's been going really well for 3 months, I don't have to look anymore. And as soon as you don't look, it's not as important anymore, just human nature, because now you're focused over here on this. Well, I want to make you happy, so I'm going to go over here. And that drops off versus every day. And that's the hardest thing. Great teams are great because they do the same thing over and over. It's Groundhog's Day. Over and over. We never stop. And you could say, yeah, but they know. That doesn't matter. My job, whether you work for me for a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, if my job every week is to ask you where your manager training is, it doesn't matter. That just has to happen every day. I hope you give it to me.
I agree.
I hope you give it to me. And that's good. We're done.
Right.
And then we move forward. But the minute I stop, that's usually what happens, is when we get good. And then what do you hear? Oh, we used to do that. Oh, that worked for me back in the day.
Cool.
Oh, that was great. I used to do that.
I remember that.
That's because somebody decided it wasn't important and they took it off their checklist, or didn't stop filling out their checklist.
That's true.
and that's where things fall through.
Well, or they had a nice run like the automotive industry did in the last year, right? And then they got lazy and rested on their laurels, and then they just stopped doing processes because they didn't have to. Well, guess what?
I don't know if it's lazy. I just think it's expedient. It's human nature.
You know what? I agree with you.
Because
that's much
how
better
much
words.
am I going to? Again, if somebody's sitting in front of me and doesn't want the product, and I'm going to say for Lou it's MSRP or MSRP plus, and he goes, I'm not sure. I have Fred. I have someone else. So it's human nature. I don't necessarily have to work the deal because if they want it or not. So yes, it could be. But that is, to your point, is it's not necessarily laziness. It's our sales process may be adapting, and it may work for this environment. But in 6 months, a year, if we get more inventory, that sales process may not work anymore. So that means we have to be aware of it and get people back on track now.
I agree.
Before,
especially staff that's never done anything but the last year and a half, 2 years, right? They don't know anything different. So it's time for us to start making sure that they're ready, because if we expect them to just know what we were doing before or anything close to what we were doing before, they're going to have problems. But I think we have to think differently than what we did before. We have to look at how we're going to do it in the future, right? And I love that. I love that's what you guys do out there. You're always going into different places, not just dealerships, but places and different events and all these in these opportunities that you get to speak. Your own event's coming up. Why don't you tell everybody about your guys' event?
Thanks. Yeah, it's called the Modern Retailing Conference. So you can type in modernretailingconference.com. It is in Florida, Palm Beach, November 13th through the 15th. Same thing, intimate event, very high-level content, strategies, networking, really actionable content you can take back to your dealership and in place. So it's a lot of fun. A lot of great people are coming, and we're gonna have a great time.
You always put on a great event, always find a great place that's real classy and fun for everybody to come out and have a good time and just feel like they're going somewhere in this industry. And you put together a great cast of just amazing solutionaries that do some big things. So we are excited about what you do in this industry and what you do for this industry. Since day one, we always appreciate you honoring us the way you have, and we will always be happy to do whatever we can to keep honoring you, my friends. So thank you today for being here. Is there anything you want to tell everybody before we get out of here?
Nope. Listen to these guys. They have great content. They're doing a lot of great things. But again, this industry is phenomenal. And I don't think, I think everyone in this industry should do more to share what a great industry it is, what a great career opportunity is for people. Very few industries do you have the ability to come in as someone who starts as a salesperson and down the road 15, 20 years, you could own your own business.
Come on, so true.
I don't understand that. So this is why I think it's really important to say, let people know this is a great business, great industry. Look at these great people here. You should spread that word.
Absolutely incredible industry, and we're so thankful that all of you are part of it. We are so thankful that we've had the opportunity to sit here with the incredible Glenn. But folks, we got to do one more thing before we wrap this up, and that's make sure that we do forgive, focus, and fly so that we can keep growing. So let's get that out on 3, 1, 2, 3. Forgive,
focus, fly, and keep growing. That's right,
everybody. Let's go. So excited to be brewing solutions with you all. I am Lou Ramirez, the Car Guy.
And I'm Fred Lennart, Subprime Hero.
And you've been brewing solutions on the Car Guy Coffee Podcast live at Digital Dealer at the Mirage with the one,
the only Glenn Pasch.
That's right. All right, get that high five up there. Spread those around. High Five Patrol is going to be running all over the place. Pay attention for more interviews. Thank you again, Glenn. Love you, brother. We are out. Ba-da-da-da-da.